Welcome back, everyone, to another exciting episode of Healing for the Soul podcast. I am your host, Robin Stoltman, where each and every week I feature different guests to help you become the best version of yourself through different methods you may not have heard of or thought of. Today, I have my guest, Sam Mitchell, on the show talking about autism, rocks, and rolls. So let's get started. Thank you so much, Sam, for being here. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Thanks for letting me be on. It's good to be here.
It's good to meet you too. So, what is your specialty and who do you like to work with?
Probably the specialty is the podcasting. So I definitely like to work with like family and all that through the podcast. I work with them. I have a board. I have an editor. I call my grandfather a critiquer for hearing out. I want to hear from a viewer's perspective as well. So that's what I have. But I like working with a lot of those people with the board, and we get stuff done. We get her done.
Well, that's always a good thing. So, what's the best way for anyone to contact you if they want to be on your show or to find out about it?
Go to the website autismrocksandrolls.com, or really that's where you can find our emails / our phone numbers. It really.
That's awesome. So, who or what inspired you to do the work that you do?
It was after I joined my high school's media club, and ever since I fell in love with it. So I decided that I knew I wanted to continue my media skills. So through a lot of work and a lot of dedication, I decided to start my own podcast, and that was when Autism Rocks and Rolls was born.
That's awesome. So, what are the biggest accomplishments that you've made so far?
I would say putting it out there, making this successful. I didn't expect it to be successful, I just thought it'd be a few hits, yada yada yada, we're good to go. But here I am having sponsors and doing some advocacy work that I never expected, and being on amazing over 100 podcasts actually that I am not expecting.
That is awesome. That is a lot.
It was over 100, I think. I last counted.
Yeah, that's a lot of them. So how do you keep track of all of them? Because that's like busy.
We have a website, so that's one way to do it. We update each week, so we keep through that. I also have a document that says podcast season 1 that I was on, and I just put it in that document. It was an idea to start off with, so that way I knew I could put her in.
That's something I probably need to do with mine. I have like a season number, but I'm like, in the beginning, I never saw like the season number, the episode number, because I'm like, I've lost track.
Yeah, I like to plan before. I'm not going to lay it out. So before this season, I came with all the topic ideas, and then I just went along with it. It was so much easier. If we get celebrities, we have to change her in around in there, but we work through the loops.
Well, that makes it a lot easier then. So I know one of the things like with your Autism Rocks is, so do you have autism or what is it like?
Yes, ma'am. I do have high functioning autism. I've had it since I was 4 years old. I was diagnosed with that, and it came with different challenges each time. I mean, when you're 6, you're going to have sensitive feelings. I don't mean internal, but external. I didn't like loud noises. I hated fireworks. That's grown out. I kind of took a 180, and I love those two things. A couple of my favorite things. Rock music's one of them. You can imagine how loud that is. So, but there's still things I don't like. I don't like my shirt wet. This gets wet. It's coming off. I mean, I know we're in public or anything. I'm not gonna take it off right away, or change even. But it's wet. It's changed well, the reason being because it feels like you're pinching your skin almost for me, and I don't like my skin pinch almost. I mean, playfully, I don't care, but 24/7, it's just an feeling.
That would make sense because my son, that's what I'd start thinking about him right away. He cannot have anything when he gets wet. It's just it has to come off right now. He doesn't care where he's at. He's just it has to come off, and I'm like, I don't understand why. He doesn't have the official diagnosis yet.
The answer is it's uncomfortable. That is your 100% reason why it is uncomfortable. And I also certain like the ends of the pants. I mean, I'm wearing PJs, and if the like upper part of the PJs, I guess, got wet, and a little bit of the lower parts, that's fine. But like what you call these right here, straight up.
Oh, yeah.
These
Like the hem part.
that would be so uncomfortable. I wouldn't. That would the pants would also come off because it's like you're stepping on a wet soil 24/7.
Oh, I'm just like thinking about that, like for my own toes. That would not feel good.
Yeah.
That was a good picture.
Yeah, not the most prettiest, but it's probably what the truth is. I mean, that's probably what else comes with autism is you have no filter. You have FIMS, foot and mouth syndrome, where you say the wrong thing at the wrong time, and I've done that too many times on a finger to count. It's just we're so honest. I mean, I was raised by parents. Honesty is the best policy, and when they say hold it off, I'm like, that's not why I was raised. I'm following by what you were raised. You know, if you wanted me to lie, then you should have taught me to lie when I was 3 years old. I'm not doing that.
True. That is true. That's actually why I've always loved little kids, is because like there's no filter. There really isn't, like it doesn't exist yet. But I mean, like, it wasn't the greatest when I was a kid, necessarily a teen growing up. But I mean, like, the kids have no filter. So like when kids would say, "Oh, are you pregnant?" and it's like, "No, I'm just heavy."
Yeah, I mean that I get, but it's like bigger. I mean, you want to spit out the truth. I mean, not just saying you're a husky fat
True.
person, but it's more like you're saying, okay, this is ridiculous, unbelievable. Like that's what it's more like. It's not really like right and wrong, being honest, but it's like saying the truth and like this is ridiculous. Honestly,
Yeah. It's calling it out on it and just being like, this is how it is. So are there different levels of autism?
Yeah, there's low, middle, and high. There's low where they basically are tall people trapped in a 3-year-old's body, or they're in a 3-year-old's body, I should say. And then there's the middle who's like has the mind of like a 9-year-old, I would say, maybe, or 8, like middle age. They can do some independent stuff, but then there's some stuff that it's not happening. But then there's high level where they're gonna struggle with these, but they can also probably go on their own and attempt to live on their own.
Which is good. So then that's like where you said that you're at is the higher functioning.
Correct. But I believe everyone, whether you're autism or not, should have a sense of independence. Like I believe that you should give a low functioning autistic person a chance to have some sense of independence. That might be this may be this may be about, I don't know with example wise, but going to get the mail, that's something. I always use that example. I think everyone can definitely, no matter if you're low or high, can get the mail.
That is very, very true. Like I said, my one nephew, he has cerebral palsy, and my sister was, when he was little, before he got his crutches and his walker, my sister's like, well, he can't do anything. His legs are broken. I'm like, excuse
his arms.
Well, I know, that's what I told her. I'm like, he's still got arms. He can still army crawl. He can sit there and go fill up the cat dish, with cat food and dog food and that. He doesn't mean the rest of them. But that's like one of the things that has stuck with me. Like when you just said that, it was, they can still go get the mail. They can still do things. Me, I'm like, people with autism are like the smartest people that I know. I think that's what drives the rest of us crazy.
That's the hard part. What bothers me sometimes is the fact that sometimes our solutions to our issues is what society sees. Okay, really? This is dumb. I mean, that's not what I agree with. I mean, there's a good example of this. I know if I'm sharing it because I firmly believe this belief. I had to get my wisdom teeth pulled out, and one day there was a point where it was so like bad pain wise. I mean, I was determined to get through it, but it was uncontrollable pain. And at that moment, I said, "Well, let's go to the doctor." Problem is, it's 6 at nighttime, and there's no one there. So I said, "Well, can we just go in the parking lot and just sit there? At least I know I'm there. And while it may have been a little nutso, it made me feel better at the end of the day. I was there, I know I'm not gonna go get help and get the teeth relieved, but knowing that I'm there where they could have helped me, I know it seems like you're teasing a cat sort of, but for me, it's sort of like a good tease in a way.
No, that makes sense. It's more motivating. So do you have just like the autism, or is it like the sensory processing disorder with it? Or
It's
like how do
the
they
sensory processing with autism.
Okay. That's what I was wondering, because like I said, my one son, I'm questioning whether or not he has the autism part, because I'm like, I've seen a lot of the different signs. And I'm just like, I don't know. I'm waiting on finding out until the end of this month, but I know like right now his sensory stuff, just like a lot of it doesn't make sense. Like some of the things that I've found that I've had to do. And I'm sure your parents have dealt with that too.
Yeah,
It's like, why do you have these
I believe
certain
you have to do what you have to do at the end of the day. If that includes
Yes.
sitting in a parking lot in a car with when you let the doors locked because you can't get your wisdom teeth surgery fixed or you can't feel relief, and that's what you have to do for your mental health sake and for yourself.
Yeah. Which that would make more sense. In his case, it was last year he had to go lick the inside of the cooler into the store. And I'm like, do you need your tongue squeezed? And that's what he needed. So then I'm like, okay, it's weird. It's something that just like, whatever, I just got to do it.
Yeah, that would have been a challenge. I think that would have been a challenge, but
Yeah,
anyway, what you gotta do. I guess you can wear gloves. That makes it go any better.
true. That is true. So then, what do you hope to accomplish by the end of the year 2022 with everything you have accomplished so far?
Well, with the things that I always joke around, and I say I'm hoping to get to grow as much as I can. But I always say, ask me in 5 years, we'll talk again because the way I'm taking this podcast is one day at a time. I don't want to say, okay, in 2022, I'm gonna make $100 million. I don't want to say that because I don't want to lie. That's just naturally who I am. I just take it one day at a time and just see where the path goes.
Which that's a good thing. Taking it one day at a time, that's got to be less stressful than two.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I know, like on your podcast, you've already had famous people, and I'm like sitting here, like, I'm getting there. I'm going to get there. That's putting it out there.
And that's with the honest and blunt. The way I figured to do it was to be honest and blunt, just go out there and just ask. I learned it's with the way I solved that is while it's unexpected and it won't happen, you don't know at the same time.
True. A mentor of mine says if you don't ask, you don't get.
That's another theory that I didn't think about. I would agree with that.
Yeah, he's very smart. He's a multimillionaire, so I guess I'm going to listen to him.
Yeah.
As I might listen to people that are smarter, that know more. It's helpful. It's fair enough. What's the biggest thing that you wish that people knew about people that have autism? Is it like the certain levels?
Yeah.
You have like
Sure.
different.
Well, I would totally say no, but that's just something to know. But what I want them to know is no matter what the function level is, we're not the dumbest people alive. There's things we can do. There's creative ideas. We're outside of the box thinkers. I mean, if you got someone low who may be trapped in a 3-year-old's body, as I mentioned earlier, you don't know what they could do, and they may be making stars out of clothes hangers.
True.
You don't know at the end of the day.
No. How do people like with autism tap into that genius then? Because that's like one thing that's always like puzzled me is like, how do you handle that genius?
Well, this is what my mission is trying to do. That's part of the mission to celebrate and showcase everyone's talent and to tap into it. That society does not see these unordinary talents, and you think it's unordinary, it's like, nope, to hell with it, basically. And that's got to go. Because if our talents could be seen, there's something they could do. I bet there's something for a boy who can line up every train in the correct order from red to blue to orange to green, purple, orange, or someone who makes the star out of OCD. I'll show you this real quick. This is really
Okay.
cool. I'm not gonna play the song. I'm just gonna show you the cover art. It's, to me, this is definitely like, whoa. Give me 1 second here. This right here. Hold on. Wait. There.
Okay. Yep. Oh, I see it. The pattern. Yeah, the
You
pattern.
see that pattern? There's something for him. I mean, I would not have been able to done that. I mean, first of all, I don't know how he did it. That's really cool in my eyes, but
Well,
to me,
yeah.
when you see that, that just shows someone's ability where he could do something.
Well, yeah, it does. That's why I'm like, how do people tap into that? Because I know like people that don't even have autism, it's like they don't even use parts of their brain.
I know. They use other parts. You know, you said they don't
Yes.
use certain parts. Well, here's the thing. Even though they won't use these certain parts, they'll make it up with these other parts.
Yes. And that's the beauty of it too. But then like it's like tapping into that genius. Because I know like I think Elon Musk, doesn't he have autism?
I think so, yeah.
Because I'm like, that's why he's already thinking ahead. He's already got these different things.
Yeah, and that's another thing with autistic people. They don't like, and this is me too, I don't like issues lingering. Maybe this is why too with our genius, and it'll make sense where I'm going with this. We don't like issues lingering. We like to solve the problem with a snap and like now. We're not going to wait till an hour to solve this. We're going to do it right now. It's not happening later. We're solving this now. We're not going to wait for tomorrow. We're not rehashing it out. That's not who we are. That means that we basically obsess into what society calls obsess and fix up the pattern. But anyways, there's time to those skills to show that we basically work our butts off harder than you people.
True. That is true.
I know it sounds arrogant, but I'm stating the truth here.
Well, yeah. And I would agree with you because there's a lot that I'm like, I could be doing more. But it's like I just like let it go.
And that's our problem. We can't take our deep breath and we cannot let it go. I mean, there are times where I want to let go. Believe me, there are times I'm like, oh my goodness, if I go anymore, I'm gonna shoot myself in the foot. But I'm like, nope, that's not how I am. I'm not stopping until this is done, buddy. It's not happening.
So in other words, if I want to be able to have my business be more successful, hire a person who has higher functioning autism to get the things done that I need to get done that I haven't yet know that I need to do.
I guess so.
That would make more sense because I'm like, they're not going to give up then as easily.
No, we're not going to stop. I mean, we do come to a venture point where we're like, okay, enough's enough. Mm-hmm. But it's going to take a lot more to say enough is enough.
True. That would make sense.
I know we have to go to bed eventually, but we may be working on it all day.
True. Reminded me of my son and his tractors. My son, the one son I know, he wants to be a farmer. He will not give up on some of that stuff until he has it done exactly the way that he wants it done. And if he doesn't get it done the exact way that he wants it done, it's like, oh my God, you're driving me nuts.
Oh, I think I've driven my parents nuts with some of the stuff.
Huh?
I think I've driven some of my family insane with the way how I do stuff. I mean, there's some, and they understand too, there's some situations where I will adapt. There are some situations I will not adapt. They know that. Like, I'll adapt. I mean, here's a couple examples I can list off the top of my head is with hay. I used to work on a hay farm with my father, and we had to stack them up basically on the trailer, like people did back, I guess, in the old days. And there was a certain way he did it. Well, I told him basically, okay, here's the deal. I'll help you on the trailer, and I don't mind doing that. That makes sense to me because it's extremely structured and all this, but I cannot stack. That is not the way I can understand it. Your way's not making sense. You're stacking, or someone else is stacking, because it's not going to happen with me.
Yeah. His thing is he likes to stack, and then he gets mad when it falls, and I'm like, well, that happens.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, I used to be that way too when I was younger. I used to line up. My grandmother bought me like these play food. I don't remember. I think it was like chicken and like fake burgers and stuff. I lined it up in a certain way. If they kicked it or moved it, it was like, no, I was running laps basically to that bird, putting it back. So I totally get that. And
You
I
have
guess,
to remind us.
yeah, and I think one time when I think we used to live in a house that had like tap water, where like faucet water, you can like tap the water and go down. Well, so one time I don't remember if it was up or down. I always liked them up. So if it was down and I saw them, I owned two eyes. I was running to that faucet, making sure that lever was up.
I would believe it. There's a lot of different, yeah. Like I said, that's finding that creative genius part of working with the person to tap into what they want to do, like their interests. Like I've learned, I'm sure your parents have had to do that too, where they have to find exactly what drives you, what motivates you to get to do for them to
Oh
get what
yeah,
you want.
I always said I'm always better with one-on-one conversations because one of my big hobbies, and I've only loved it since I was 6, and if I could talk about this all day, is professional wrestling. I could talk about that like all day, all the time. And as I've gotten older, I've learned to, rein it in a little bit, but I still bring it up, and they don't have a problem with that. I see that I just have to, can't talk about it 24/7. But I used to be like that. Everything that came out of my mouth was either a fact or something that happened with professional wrestling, and
Oh, wow.
they would say we can talk about this 15 minutes and we're done. But I think now what they're starting to see is, wait a minute, there's something to this. We should not have done that. There's something to this. And it might drive you crazy, but it's something I know, and I want to share my knowledge about this with you. I'm not asking you to know the stuff about pro wrestling like I do, but I want you to hear it with an open mind. I had to do this a while back. I had to hear something about something that I'm not interested in, but I heard it with an open mind. I don't shut the door on everything I hear. I open it up. I mean, to a point. It's halfway open, not like full halfway open or closed. It's like you're meeting in the middle, sort of.
Yeah, that would make sense because I thought about that, like with some of his toys, like for when I'm teaching him at home, even. I'm like, I could just take his tractors and have him start telling me by numbers because he's learning more of his numbers. And I thought, I'm just going to have him line up his tractors and we're going to count together. That way it's something that he wants.
That's a good idea, actually, because it's also, you're tapping into your skills, but you're also kind of getting what you want. Everyone's a winner at the end of the day.
Well, yeah, I'm sure like even with the wrestlers, my one nephew, he's got over 100 of them. And I'm like, I don't have any interest in wrestling, but that's just me. But it's like tapping into that. Okay, well, what about this one wrestler? What's your favorite wrestler, by the way? Or who is your favorite wrestler?
I'm not, like you said, I'm not asking you to be on the same level. You don't have to tell me the main events of WrestleMania 38 or 36 or whatever. I know there's not WrestleMania 38, I'm just saying. But I expect that you hear me out. You'd be like, oh, that's really cool. And just ask questions. That makes me feel comfortable.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know like
ask what is pro wrestling. That's a good idea. Ask what it is if you don't know. What is
I know like the WWE and then there's WWF. I haven't paid attention since I was a kid.
Right. I'm just saying. I'm just trying to set an example here.
Huh?
I know. I'm just saying. I'm just trying to set an example.
Oh yeah, that's fine. I was just like thinking like the last wrestler that I knew was like there was Sting and then Macho Man.
Yep.
So I remember those two. We were actually, my husband and I were talking about Macho Man, and when they were like, maybe that's why he died. All those Slim Jims.
No, not those Slim Jims. I think he suffered like something in the throat, or I think it was heart, or something around there.
Well, we didn't know, but we were just like, we remember those commercials because they stuck with us. So
yeah.
Snap into a Slim Jim. It's like how we did it. Yeah, that was something that was interesting. I remember that. And then like Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of people know Hulk Hogan. I mean, I think one wrestler everyone knows these days, or even is The Undertaker. That's probably your biggest one.
True. So is the Undertaker, is he like part of the Giant or no? Or there's two different people?
He's one Undertaker. There's only one Undertaker.
Okay. That shows how much I know about wrestling today.
Yeah, it's all right. If it makes you feel better, I think he retired a couple years ago, so he's still he's definitely an old man now. We'll put it that way.
The Undertaker or Giant?
Undertaker.
Okay. Well, that helps because, like I said, I don't know all of them. I'm just like, if I know it, if I want to know something, my nephew does.
Yeah, well, no, ask the person who knows.
Well, yeah, that's how I am. I'm like, I don't know. I'm going to ask somebody else who does know because I don't know. Me, I'm like, that's the smartest thing people can say. If they don't know something, I don't know, but I probably know somebody who does.
Mm-hmm.
So I was wondering too. I know like a lot of people, there's like so many different of like the warning signs of people that have autism. And I've noticed like you've been able to maintain eye contact pretty good. So is that like, I know that's like one of the signs that everybody's like, well, if they don't have eye contact. So you do have eye contact, but like, do you know why people say that? Like, what
No,
happens?
I wish I could give you the answer, but no. But I mean, I can give you from my opinion, and my opinion
Yeah,
is distractions. So if I'm telling you right now, here we hear my basically I'm gonna look that way because I'm hearing that noise.
true.
So it's distraction really, and that's probably the ADHD kicking in me too. I really ADHD. I had that since I was 2 as well. Too. So I've definitely been able to like have those like as they call the Up movie. If you see that movie, there's one that has those
Oh, yep.
squirrel like that. So I definitely have my as I call them my squirrel moments.
I think we all got that. The shiny object. Ooh, what was that again? I get that with this or that, and it's like, stay focused.
Yeah,
Stay focused.
that
That's what
my
I want
problem is
to do.
if I think of something, it's like I'm typing up a paper on college. Oh crap! I don't have this. I don't have RVD's intro. Okay, I'm gonna stop this. Move on to RV's the intro. We're gonna come back now to this. So I don't focus on one thing sometimes. I do focus on one thing, but it's multiple things, one thing at a time.
Yeah. I'm like, I can't split my energy. I've tried that like the other day. I was like trying to figure out how to do 3 different things at once. I'm like, this
Not
isn't
happening.
working. I couldn't
And
do
that's
it.
why I'm at to focus on one thing because I have a rule with my computer, and this is with everybody and my family. If you use this computer, that's fine, but you can only have 4 tabs open at a time. Because if you have more tabs than 4, I get overwhelmed very easy. I'm like, okay, what are you working on? If you're working with me and you're using my computer, you're having 4 tabs open maximum. So I don't get overwhelmed.
I'm gonna try that for myself. Cause like I think I must have had about 15 tabs open the other
Oh
night.
yeah, my mom sometimes will have 20 tabs. I'm like, how are you not stressing right now?
I started to. That's why I'm like, my eyes are starting to go, what are we doing? And then I had my calendar book in front of me and I had something else. I'm like, okay. I started like seeing stuff. I'm like, this is not good. Because like the eyes get so defocused. It's like, okay, focus on something else. No, that makes sense with like the 4 tabs. I'm definitely gonna try that myself.
Oh yeah, I have to have that. I mean, and it's definitely worked better. I mean, if I have to break the rule, I do, but it's very minimal. Like if I have to have 5 tabs, sometimes I'm like, okay, I hear you. It just needs to happen. But you got to pull me open. We're gonna have 10 tabs open. We're like, we're not doing this task, or we're either finding a way to keep those 4 tabs open.
True. That is true. Well, the mind can only process 5 to 7 bits of information per second anyway, so it would make sense to not have a bunch of tabs open.
Yeah, I think so. I agree with you.
Yeah, it's one of those things I'm thinking about now. It's like, yeah. I'm gonna try that myself. So, what are some tips that people can like? Do you have any tips that people can ask or avoid when talking about autism?
Well, I would say this because I thought of that. My question is be specific. So here's an example. I'm not gonna. It's not me picking on you intentionally. You said your question was basically, do you have any tips that people can ask or to avoid when talking about autism? Well, let me ask you this: ask about what? Our sensory issues, our non-foot and mouth syndrome, our my way or the highway, or our making friends. So really, be specific. And my story with this one is my grandfather and grandma. They always have like a big table, and around it there's something called the island. I've never heard of that, and I don't understand what it
Okay.
is. I still don't. So they always tell you, "Hey, can you get that off the island?" I'm like, "What island? There's no island around here." A, B, where's the island on the sneaking table? Where on the island? On the left hand side of the island, the right hand side, center island. I mean, where at exactly?
True. That is very, very true. It's not very specific.
Yeah,
So
you
that's
basically, I mean, if you say, "Hey, can you get that toilet paper?" Well, what toilet paper? Charmin toilet paper? I mean, Bounty toilet paper? I mean, Bounty paper towels? What?
that is true. That is very, very true. Well, I guess it's no different like what they say in business too. That you need to be super clear, super focused. You need to be extremely clear on who you're helping, what you're doing, and all of that. So you
Yeah,
know
that's
your
you have
audience.
that certain task with you.
Huh?
You have that certain task with you, or that certain order, and that's why I'm a very structured guy. I mean, I'm not. I used to be at the type of guy where you can't break a routine. Like you basically tell me, "Hey, we're going to Walmart spontaneously." Basically, I'm on the floor pouting down. I'm not like that anymore. Not. I'm definitely not like that anymore. But for example, if with this podcast, if you told me specifically, "Hey, we're going to have yada 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 tomorrow," and no one told me, yeah, I'm going to get mad because I'm definitely very rigid with this podcast. I like it to go smooth and a smooth sales ship. But I'm going to be a little more lenient with that. But with this season, I was really, really strict because I wanted to make sure it would go eye to eye, key to key. So I was definitely very strict with this. So with this, if you told me spontaneously, yeah, I probably wouldn't be the happiest camper alive. But with life itself, I'm different now. I'm very lenient. I'm like, hey, you want to go to a concert tomorrow, for example? Yeah, sure, whatever.
Well, that makes it easier. Like as time goes on, I'm sure it made it easier on your parents then too.
Oh yeah, it was definitely a lot easier.
That's what I was kind of wondering. I'm like, do kids get easier when they get older? I'm like, teenagers is not fun. That's not fun for anybody. But man, that's just like one of the things I was thinking about. I'm
Yeah,
like,
it gets better at some points. I mean, yeah, you're gonna get some of the mouths are gonna be coming out, but they at least they know like some they know somewhere at least there's right and wrongs. Little
true.
kids have that.
And I was gonna say for the foot and mouth, I think a lot of people have that.
I don't think the foot and mouth sometimes grows out of kids out of others. I think that
Yes.
stuff. I think that sticks with them into adulthood sometimes.
Yeah, a lot of them that I've noticed, and I'm like, well, let's view it as either good or bad.
Yeah,
It's
that's not like just tell me. Was this bad? And I like those people because well, I know you're saying it's bad. End of story. That's just rude, and you're basically not the nicest person alive. But if you say it was bad, here's why, in my opinion, because yada 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 yada, then that's fine. But you need to have reasons. You need to back up your
true.
evidence, and that goes back to that specific. You can't have just the general statement.
No, and that would make a lot of sense then too, especially like for how the brain is wired for in correct order, very structured. Of this is what we have to do. This is what we stay on task and at, which
Mm-hmm.
would make sense.
Yeah, and I think if sometimes society can just see that and change it, our lives and other people's lives sometimes might make sense.
True. That is true, especially for the parents.
Yeah.
What tips do you have for parents?
Oh well, the tips I have for parents is really first of all, I encourage the child to definitely be themselves. I mean, show that no matter what talents they have or hidden abilities they have, show them that they can show it, period. But also know I guess from a different parentals, I think I can't say it, but I guess I could, since my mother's not here, I will tell you hers. I guess what she would say is definitely, probably to learn, I mean, to show them what they can be, and you gotta let them go on their own, but also figure out the right time to nurture them at the same time. Excuse me. And I'm gonna get my father because he might have a good answer. A, B, he's a parent of someone. I don't feel comfortable answering it because I'm not a parent.
That's fine. I didn't want to ask.
I'm just telling you. I just don't want to answer because I'm not a parent. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Hey, Dad. I don't think he's here. Well, he's outside, but I'm not going out. It's cold. So really, I guess what he would probably say if I had to guess is patience is the key. With father, I know sometimes that you want to be like, really, 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 like, don't do it this way, and have that fatherly control, I guess what you call it. So I would say, but understand that you need to be patient and not fly off the handle too easily or let them off the hook too easily as well.
That would make a lot of sense. That really would. Patience is a virtue many of us need.
I would definitely agree with you.
Well, I've really enjoyed talking with you, Sam. I've really, really appreciated all your insight and different things that you're doing, especially as young as you are. Did you just graduate from high school?
Yep. I just graduated from high school and I'm in college right now. I'm on break still, but it's coming to an end soon. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Well, I've really enjoyed, like I said, being able to talk with you and getting different insights. And I really wish you the best in college too.
Thank you.
I'm sure you'll do amazing. What are you going to school for?
Media or entrepreneurship.
You'll do really well at it. Entrepreneurship is like the hardest thing.
Yeah, unless you, I think I do well to accept the finances. I cannot understand the finances or the numbers.
That's the tricky part. I'm still figuring that out myself.
Yeah, I can't find numbers. I've never been a math person. Always been the English person and social studies person.
Yeah, that's where it's nice to have somebody else do it. I have to get that part of it myself, but
yeah, get a treasurer if that's your best idea, or someone who does it.
Yeah,
or a secretary. I don't know which one does which.
For which one?
The money. I don't know if the money person's the treasurer or the secretary.
I think it's both of them do it, or the treasurer usually does the money, like they understand like the billing and like the budgeting. Then like the secretary, they just write all the notes.
Cool.
But I think they kind of
treasure got it. Okay.
Well, thank you so much, Sam. I really appreciate you being a guest on the podcast here. I really appreciate it.
No problem. When do you think this will come out of curiosity?
Planning on next week, Sunday.
Cool.
I think it'll be the 16th of January when people are tuning in.
Got it. Aye, Captain.